Hi there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and in today's episode I'm going to show you how you can achieve something along the lines of a long exposure without the help of a tripod or an ND filter. Enjoy! I have chosen two spots that I want to use in this tutorial, and these are the resulting images. As you can see, both of them are taken during daytime. Usually you'd have to set up a tripod and use an ND filter to achieve long exposure times. In my first example, I'm going to show you how to do it with a tripod and no ND filter, and in the second one, I'm going to show you how you can do it without both of them. Before we begin with the editing, let me explain to you the basics of the concept we're using today. As the name suggests, a long exposure is a shot where the sensor is exposed to light over a long period of time. Since we're only able to adjust the brightness of an image with the ISO, aperture or shutter speed, a long exposure would mean that we had a longer shutter speed and we had to adjust the aperture to a smaller diameter or lower down the ISO. We can do this to a certain point, but if we use a smaller aperture, the depth of field would be way greater and we would not be able to frame the subject as we want to. The other thing that would help would be to use a smaller ISO number, but every camera has its lowest limit, maybe at 100 or even 50, and we can't go lower than that. In short, this means if the sun is out, you probably need an ND filter to create some long exposures. There is a simple way around it, and this is to shoot multiple exposures with a faster shutter speed and to combine them. In my case, I'm using this technique for moving out water and adding some special effects to a waterfall. In theory, this technique is pretty simple. If you want to expose for 2 seconds, you could take 50 shots at 1/25th of a second and combine them. This way, the total exposure time would be the same. In my first image though, I'm shooting across a lake and I want to smooth out the water. In this case, I used my tripod, put a camera on it, used an interval timer, most of today's camera come with an interval timer integrated, and shot 30 images with a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. The reason for the interval was that the waves on the lake are kind of unpredictable and I wanted them to be as randomized as possible on every shot. Keep in mind that if you are stacking the photos, the brightness levels do not increase with the number of photos. So expose the shot as if it would be your final image. Let's jump into Lightroom and have a look at the shots I got. As you can see, in here, in the library tab, there are all my images. I got 30 of the lake and a few, maybe 8, of a waterfall. Now, if we zoom in into a photo of the lake, we can see it's kinda lame. There are waves, the lake isn't flat, the ice is practically not visible with this rough background, and that's something that we're going to change with stacking. The first thing I'd like to do is to organize my photos. As you can see, there are 2 categories of images and I want them to be in the same color label. So let's go for red on the first one and green on the second one. Perfect. Usually the images have to be edited before stacking. Let's do this quickly. Let's just select the last one of the series and do some editing. Now that I've done that, let's copy the development settings of this image, check all, and paste it to all the others. Since I used AI masks like the select object, this might take a while, so bear with me. For the sake of the video, I did not plug in the laptop, that's why it's taking a while longer. Perfect. Okay, this is pretty much the way I want my final image to look like. And I just noticed there are some birds or whatever. Are they? Ah, okay, perfect. Now the next step would be to select all of them right click and select Edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. This might take a while as well. Oh boy. The only reason it takes as long as it does is because there is no power supply plugged into the laptop. Oh, seems like it's finished. Let me tell you, if I'd use my PC that is actually recording the sound over there, it would take not half as long as it did. Okay, let's open the layers tab. Usually it's up there, I don't know, mine always hides down at the bottom. Kind of strange. And since I took this shot with the tripod, the images are aligned. This means I have to select all the layers and now convert them to a smart object. Oh, did I mention this might take a while since the laptop isn't plugged in? Actually, it was kind of fast. The only thing you have to do now is to tell the smart object to render the image as a stack. This can be done under the Layers menu, Smart Objects, and Stack mode. Here are many stack modes, but the one we're interested in is Mean. Yeah, that's the part that's going to take a while. This takes the average of each pixel and displays the resulting color, which is pretty much the same as a long exposure would be. Yeah, here we have it. A kind of beautiful shot. Before we hit the save button, we have to do something very important. We have to go onto the layer and select rasterize layer. This way it's not a smart object anymore and it does not hold all the color information anymore. And it takes way less disk space. Now hit Ctrl S, as you can see it's saving. Should probably have plugged it in. However, as soon as it is saved, it should appear in Lightroom at the end of the series we had selected, and it did. The only thing I dislike is this bright spot over here. This is probably because I used the brush tool to brighten up the middle, and yeah, as this is a normal photo, we can fix it without any problem. Let's get it on the mask. We're over here. Perfect. Yeah, I like it. And that's all there is to it. If you now compare these shots, I mean, it looks rough, looks kind of boring. They're all kind of similar. And the result, the long exposure, is pretty damn awesome. I took this shot in Switzerland, near the lake Bodensee. It's up in the north. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing place. Another thing I strongly dislike is this blotch of color over here. I don't know what it is, but since we have the image open in Photoshop, I can probably heal that, remove it, hit save again. I don't know what's happening now. Okay. As you can see, the spot is now removed. I usually like to remove these shots from the quick collection. And voila, you only have one shot and it's kind of awesome. Let's head over to the second shot. This one is from a waterfall, also in Switzerland, near some mountain pass. And yeah, let's do exactly the same thing as we did before. The only difference is this shot was not shot with a tripod. This means I held the camera, put it into high speed mode and fired away. I only took 8 or 9 shots, but this is enough since I only want the waterfall to look a little bit smoother. I'm going to spare you the whole process of editing, I did this before. So all photographs. Grab this one, copy the development settings, copy all, and paste them. Okay, fine. Let's go over to the quick collection. I don't know why this one appears over here. Doesn't really matter. Let's grab all of them and do exactly the same thing as before. Edit in, open layers in Photoshop. Did I ever tell you that this might take a while? Oh, awesome. Now the layer tab is here and we can see what's happening. The layers are finally opened. As you can see, when I disable some, the shot moves quite a lot. This is because I shot it handheld. Now, to fix this, I'm going to select all of them, go to Edit, Auto Align Layers, and click Auto, OK. Sometimes this takes a while, sometimes it's very fast, I don't know, depends on the image. If you're interested, as far as I remember, both of these shots were shot with my EOS R. It's kind of strange, when I'm outdoors I usually use the EOS R instead of my R6. Okay, as you can see, if I disable a few layers, it is now very steady. The only thing changing is the foliage and the water. As soon as we are going to combine these images, the waterfall will be very smooth. The only problem is that the foliage will be smeary and motion blurry as well. But I don't care, and I think it will be a great effect and lead the eye into the middle of the image. So let's try it. Select all the layers, right click, convert to Smart Object. Perfect. Now head over to the Layers tab, Smart Object, Stack Mode, and as always, use Mean. Experiment with all the other ones, but Mean, in my opinion, is the best one. And look at this. The waterfall is now very smooth, it looks like time has passed. The foliage on the left is kind of blurry, but I really like it. And yeah, that's the final image. Hold on, it's not the final image, I'm sorry. As you can see, there is a black border around the image, and this is because we had to align the images, and this left some white spaces and they're now filled in with black. To correct for that, we're going to use the cutting tool, cut it down a little bit on both sides, maybe from here, to the point where there is no black visible at all. Okay, double click. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Final step would be to rasterize the layer, because we're going to save a lot of time while saving and a lot of space on the disk. Click it, Ctrl S for saving. Who would have guessed it takes a while? Okay. Perfect, that's the final shot. And now I have a question for you, and it's kind of philosophical. Shooting an image like this with the technique I've showed is kind of simple. It's way easier than taking a long exposure. You don't have to carry as much gear. But there are some people that don't like this technique because it is not a one shot. Let me know what you think. Is this still one photograph? Has it to be declared how it was edited? Yeah, tell me your opinion. Strangely enough, if you would shoot some star trails, you would do it pretty much the same way with long exposures and stacking. So I don't know the answer. It's an easy way to shoot some long exposures during daytime, move out some waters, and yeah, have a fantastic result. I hope you all liked the video. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to know how I edited this shot, what settings I used, or maybe what preset I built from them, yeah, let me know. I'll probably do an episode on this as well. Why are you overheating? Well, let's talk to you then. If you ever use this technique, let me know in the comments, tag me, or maybe send me a message on Instagram. My handle is @Meike, my name. And yeah, if you liked it, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a like, and see you guys next time. Bye.